Welcome everyone to a brand new episode of VIVA JUEGO. I'm your host, the Chic Monster, and we're back again working on Pew. Halloween, that was a thing that the kids are celebrating these days, and I thought it might be kind of fun, even though it's a little bit late, to do a Halloween episode. I mean, it's after Halloween, so maybe it's like a post-Halloween episode, and you can kind of watch the very first enemies for Pew being made. This one here is going to be like a Mars Attacks kind of alien guy. It's very much taking inspiration from that, and he's going to be the boss of this level. The third world in the tutorial level. Let's do that. Let's go with that phrase. I'm just going to be working on that. You can watch that, and I'm going to talk about the Halloween that I had. I was really bored on Halloween, I wanted to go out and do something, but there wasn't anything I was just like, let's go trick-or-treating, I told my friends. We're all way too old to be doing that stuff, but who cares, So we dressed up, and we went out trick-or-treating in the rich neighborhoods. It was a lot of fun. I kind of did my costume on the fly, and I'm already a starving artist, so I came up with the Kiki. Kiki's delivery service, that Studio Ghibli film or whatever, with the chick on the broom. I dressed up as her. You only have to get like a nice little black dress and a bow, and like a little brown messenger bag, and you're set to go. People knew who I was, even though I didn't have the cat and the broom. It was funny though, I was at the mall, and I was waiting for my other friends to show up before we went out trick-or-treating, and I saw another girl dressed up as Kiki, and she had the whole getup. She had the bow, the dress, and the cat, and the broom. And I hate cats, so I would never have a cat plushie with me, and she had a cat plushie. So I waved at her, I'm like, oh my god! And she's like, oh, you do that movie, like, oh, we're dressed the same. So I'm like, I love your costume, as a joke. And she's like, ha ha ha. And then she goes, where's your cat? She didn't compliment me. She just goes, where's your cat? And then she just walks away, and I was like, what a bitch. So trick-or-treating was a lot of fun, I got half a bag full of candy. We got there at about 8, and, most people have already run out of candy by then, but we still got half a bag full of candy, and, oh, listen to that. Smell that? You know what my favorite smell in the whole world is? It's a bag full of candy. It's not like a chocolate smell, and it's not like a sweet smell either, but it's a very distinct smell. The bag of candy always smells the same. I don't know why. It's a little bit of plastic. It's a little bit of everything. It's my favorite smell in the whole world. I'm not even joking. So yeah, we went out trick-or-treating. Standard fare, pretty standard fare. There wasn't a lot going on. It was a lot of kids in the neighborhood, so not a lot of people were trying to scare anybody. But I do remember one thing. I'm very easily scared by, like horror things. Like, I don't do the haunted house thing at all. So every time there was a house that's like, oh, I know this house is just gonna try to scare me, I just skip it. I'm feeling such a wimp, but there you go. But I came up to this one house, right? And there's this guy standing out in front in a Scream mask. And the Scream mask used to terrify me when I was little, but I've seen it so many times now, it's just like, eh. But he's out there and he's doing his ghoul thing. And, there's a bowl of candy on a table right in front of the door. And I come up, I'm like, trick or treat. And I'm with my friend Gianna. We got separated from the group for a little while. And he goes, do you want some candy? Like, he said it in that, like, a European voice. I really couldn't place it. And I go, yes, I would love some candy. And he goes, then come take it for yourself. And so I'm looking at it, and I'm looking at him, and I'm looking at the candy, and I'm like, listen, I know you're gonna try and scare me if I go for the candy, otherwise, you would give it to me already. And he goes, to go, it's fine, it's just candy, you won't get scared much. And I'm like, yeah, I really can't go for the candy, I'm afraid. He's like, no, it's okay, and I'm like thinking about it. I'm talking with this guy for 5 minutes about whether or not I should go up and get the candy, right? There's like a little girl chilling behind a pillar in the house. I'm like, is she gonna jump out and scare me if I get the candy? I can see her in the corner. He goes, no, she's not part of this. She's not part of this. I go, okay. There's a tablecloth on the table. I say, is someone gonna jump out from under the tablecloth? And he goes, no. And there's a door behind the bowl of candy, and is someone gonna jump out from the door if I get the candy? He goes, maybe, and I'm like, oh, alright. And I'm like, I really don't know what's going to come out of that door, so, I'm just gonna go ahead and leave. Thanks for the offer, though. He goes, no, wait. And he goes and he gets the candy. He picks up the bowl and reaches out towards me, like, this, look, it's okay, if you don't want to get scared, it's okay. And he hands me the candy. And I'm like, oh, that's sweet, this is a good guy, he's just trying to have fun. I'm like, alright, I guess I'll have some candy. And then at that moment, the door opens, and the most terrifying fucking clown I've ever seen in my life jumps out. He's got a knife in his hands and everything. And I was like, I just ran. Like, I didn't even get to finish my sentence. I was like, sure, I'll get some candy. And then I just ran. I just ran all the way down the street. And behind me, I could hear the guy going, no, wait. And my friend Gianna's laughing and laughing. She's like, she's not having none of that. So we just... That was probably the only, weird, scary experience that I had. But it was fun. It was a lot of fun. But anyway, since we're here, and I really have nothing else to talk about, I thought I'd just try some of these candies with you. This is live. This is happening in real time. And I'm just gonna eat candy like a fat bitch and just tell you about what do you think about the candy. I haven't had so many different kinds of candy in a while. Let's start with the chocolate bars. I'm gonna get... Alright, I have a Twix here, I have a Snickers here, I have a Milky Way. I have Tootsie Rolls. Do you ever notice, I don't know if any of you have been trick-or-treating recently, but there's always a really, really large disproportionate amount of Tootsie Rolls in almost every trick-or-treating stash. Half of this bag is Tootsie Rolls, and there's way too many varieties. It's the same candy, right? We've got the long, slim Tootsie Roll. We've got the big, chunky, fat Tootsie Roll, which is literally the worst kind of Tootsie Roll because it's so big and globby and black, and it gets stuck in your teeth or your braces or whatever you have. And then you have the flavored Tootsie Rolls, which are alright, I guess. That's not a Tootsie Roll. Just trying to pass one. I don't like any of the flavored Tootsie Rolls. I like the vanilla flavored one, though. Those are pretty good. Oh, I found a vanilla flavor. I'm going to set that one aside for later. Okay, do Whoppers count as a chocolate bar? I don't think so. We'll try that later. Okay, so Milky Way, Snickers. Do we have a Butterfingers in there? You gotta have a Butterfingers. Oh, Baby Ruth. Haven't had that in a while. And I just ate the last Crunch Bar. That one was delicious. It's very simple. There's not a lot going on there. Nestle, they make great stuff. I think that's all the chocolate bars that are in here. There's no Butterfingers, which is my other favorite kind of chocolate bar, and that makes me really sad. I mean, you'd think if you'd go to the rich neighborhood, you'd get a lot of the full-size candy bars. I only got one full-size candy bar, and that was one that I traded with one of my friends for a handful of Sweet Tarts. And it was a full-size Milky Way, and it was terrible. So you would think you're in these rich neighborhoods, you're gonna get a full-size candy bar, and they just giving you these little things. And the parents, too, are, so stingy. I mean, I've been running around all night going from door to door, alright? This is hard work. And you get to the door and you hold out your bag in your costume that you threw together last minute, and you say, trick or treat. And they have the audacity to look you in the eye and just drop a single crummy little piece of candy in there. And they know that they're doing that. One candy, per person. That's terrible. I hate people who just give out one candy. 2 candies at least. I worked for this candy. But I always love the kids. When the kids, they have the parents and the kids give out the candy. The kids know what's up. They're like, listen, I was just trick-or-treating an hour ago, and I know exactly what you're feeling right now. And they go to the candy bowl, and they'll just grab 2 handfuls of candy and just dump them in your bag. I remember it was so cute. It was like a little pirate kid, and he was giving out the candy, and it was the happiest day of his life. He didn't realize that he was giving away deliciousness yet. He wasn't quite at that age. And I say, trick or treat, and it gives me the candy, and just go bam, bam, 2 handfuls of candy. And I was like, and he looked at me, and I looked at him, and, you know, in that moment, I think we shared something. We understood each other. He said, you know, you've been doing a lot of work tonight. I think you really deserve this. But there's one house, I remember, it was so funny. There was one house, and there was a little girl opened up the door, right? And, like, I'm normally excited about this because, again, I said the kids give out the most candy, I think. But she looked so glum. She wasn't even smiling. She was just frowning, you know? Like, she was on the verge of tears. She was wearing a Belle costume, you know, Belle from Beauty and the Beast. And I'm a big girl, you know? I'm holding out my candy bag. And she's got this bucket full of, I say, trick or treat, you know, and she looks at me like I was Satan himself. And my friend Gianna's with me, and we're just kind of looking at each other, and this girl, she's like, and she looks back at her dad, who's behind her, and he's got his arms crossed, and he's smiling, you know, go on, give him the candy. And, you know, it dawned on the both of us, like, oh my God, she probably did something really bad, or she doesn't want to give away the candy, or Dad's making her give away the candy. So we hold our bags out, and she's putting the candy in our bags, and she's just looking at us, you know, like wishing with all of her heart that we would just drop dead on the front porch. It was the most evil glare I'd ever seen. So I just kind of backed away slowly, and like, oh, have a happy Halloween. So that was interesting. Okay, story time ran on a little long, so I'm going to have to just cut to a commercial break really quickly, and then when we get back, I'll eat some chocolate, which I'm sure will be a lot of fun for me and not very interesting for you, but I don't really care, because I will have eaten chocolate. But, you know, to keep your interest here, I can bribe you with a couple of Halloween-related games. I have an extra copy of Amnesia and Costume Quest, which I'm going to be giving away. So if you want to win one of those games, you share this video, and I would choose one of the people who shared the video to give one of the games to. And there's another way in which you can also win, and I'll tell you that when we get back from break. So keep on watching. Thanks for tuning in to VIVA JUEGO. Be right back.